Greetings one and all. This is Stories About Stuff. And today, we're going to be talking about the devil. I'm not going to go into detail about the origins of the devil, where this figure comes from, where all these stories started. I think whether you're a believer or not, you've got a pretty decent idea of who and what the devil is and what he does. And there's countless stories of the devil visiting Earth for lots of different reasons. He could come here to buy souls, like in the story of Faust. He could be here to tempt us and to start the end of days, like in countless different movies, comic books, novels, video games, and some current conspiracy theories. Or maybe he just wants the simplicity of a casual stroll across the English countryside. Which is what brings us to our first story. This is the story of the Devil's Footprints. Now, on the night of the 8th of February in the year of 1855, a heavy snowfall fell on Devon. When people awoke the next day, they were shocked to find these mysterious hoof prints in the snow. These strange prints, they measured at about 4 inches long, 3 inches across, and between 8 and 16 inches apart. And they were mostly in a single file. Now, reports of these bizarre hoof prints, they came in from more than 30 locations across the whole of Devon and a part of Dorset as well. It's estimated that the total distance of the tracks amounted to between 40 and 100 miles, and even appeared on top of obstacles in the path like roofs and high walls. Now, in the midst of the investigations into what caused these strange marks, religious leaders at the time declared that the hoof prints were evidence that the devil himself had visited Devon. Now, this story is actually considered to be true. It was reported in the Illustrated London News at the time. Now, the devil taking allegedly stride through Devon, it's just one theory about where these tracks came from. One theory says it was an experimental balloon that was released by mistake from the nearby dockyards, and the tracks will actually come from 2 shackles on the end of mooring ropes. If you're like me, when you hear experimental balloon, you think of like Pennywise with a little red balloon on the string. This will be like a big hot air balloon kind of thing. Another theory is that the prints were left behind by hopping wood mice. That actually explains why they'll be on top of different obstacles. Another theory is, this is my favourite theory as well, is that the prints were left behind by a kangaroo that had escaped from a private collection. I love that idea. There's actually no evidence, no proof that anyone nearby had a pet kangaroo. But this theory was actually invented by one Reverend G.M. Musgrave, who worked at the local church, and he created this story to distract his parishioners' concerns about a visit from the devil. Now, the devil being in the UK has happened more than a few times, according to the tales and the folklore. And we, now for our next story, we come to the county of Sussex, which is where I currently live. And in this story, the devil actually creates one of the county's most beautiful landmarks. And to tell us this story, we have one of our resident storytellers, who is as old as the devil himself. So to tell us the story of the origins of Devil's Dyke, this is Grumpy Bob.
Devil's Dyke is a 100-metre deep V-shaped valley on the South Downs in Sussex, in England. Now, legend has it that the devil himself was furious at the number of churches being built by the devout villagers of Sussex. And he was so furious that he vowed to dig a channel through the downs to let in the sea and drown everyone. And as he was so evil, daylight would cause him great pain. So he could only perform this task in one night. And that was what he tried to do. He started at the village of Poynings, digging furiously and hurling huge clods of earth behind him. Before the devil could finish his work, an old woman woke and saw the beast before her, quickly deducing what he was doing. She lit a candle, which confused the devil into thinking that the sun was coming up early. The old woman acted quickly and woke her rooster, who started crowing immediately. The devil was now convinced that day was dawning and proceeded to run away from his unfinished labour, while cursing the morning. The last huge clod of earth on his shovel fell into the English Channel, and that huge clod of earth would later be named the Isle of Wight.
Now, this story stems from the fact that Sussex was actually the last Anglo-Saxon kingdom to convert to Christianity. Another version of that story actually replaces the old woman with St. Cuthman of Stenin. This story, I love this story. It has that feel of ancient legend and myth. But the first time that this tale was recorded was actually in a publication called the Gentleman's Magazine in 1810. Now, this story of the creation of Devil's Dyke isn't the only story involving the devil and Devil's Dyke. At the bottom of Devil's Dyke, there are two humps. They are known locally as the Devil's Graves. And the story there says that the devil and his wife are buried there. And if you run backwards around these humps 7 times while holding your breath, the devil will appear. I've not actually tried that. Might do it as a live stream, why not? But I'm more interested to know who the devil's wife is. Now that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for joining us on this. And of course, also thank you to our resident storyteller, Grumpy Bob. It was really nice of him to crawl out of his cave to read us that story. As always, you know what to do. If you want more content, subscribe, like, click things. And if you are interested to know what else happens with the Fly By Pants projects, as this series is a part of that, then please visit www.flybypants.com and have a look at all of the different things that we do there. And yeah, as always, thank you. Take care. See you next time.